Guys, the day is here. It's the day. Don't make me say it. But conservatives are starting to warm up to policies from Lindsey Graham, Bill Cassidy, Dean Heller, and Ron Johnson.
Mass hysteria!
And we're about to explain why they might have the right idea. Congressional Republicans are eyeballing yet another attempt to take on Obamacare themselves before the September 30th deadline will force them to work to stabilize or save and cement Obamacare with the Democrats. The new last-ditch effort, a fourth-quarter desperation play of a bill being pushed by liberal GOP rock stars like Bill Cassidy and Lindsey Graham. And with a roster like that, the expected conservative response was, well,
Fly, you fools!
And that's understandable given everybody's track record here. And of course, the Democrats, the insurance industry cronies, and the rest of the usual suspects are kicking up their dust about it, even though it keeps a lot of Obamacare's framework. Here's footage of a joint press conference.
The sky is falling! The sky is falling!
Okay, so that was Chicken Little, but here's Chuck Schumer.
This is a red siren moment for the entire country.
The message is basically the same. And these groups have cried wolf on healthcare so much over the past few months that it's hard to take any criticism seriously at this point. And despite all of this, the Graham-Cassidy bill actually looks like it has a shot at passing, with some conservatives outright supporting it and others signaling that they're willing to at least hold their noses for it. Now, as Rand Paul explains,
this is not a repeal bill. This is sort of, hey, we're going to take Obamacare, replace it with Obamacare.
Exactly. So let's cut through the swamp hysteria and talk about what this is. What it does is keep most of Obamacare's framework, but let states figure out how to operate under it with their own systems. And it does this by letting them waive a few cherry-picked portions of the law. And if a state fails to make it more affordable, it lets people out of the failing system by getting rid of the individual and employer mandates while expanding their options outside traditional health insurance. But again, it doesn't really repeal Obamacare. It keeps most of the taxes, the spending, and the regulations that make the current system what it is and make it such a failure. Let's face it, Obamacare was destined for failure by its design. And whether or not they realized it, so was the GOP establishment's effort to repeal it. Right now, the problem is that there are just a handful of days left before the only other serious option on the table is for this Congress to look for consensus on an Obamacare bailout with the Democrats, which means Obamacare now and Obamacare forever. Until Democrats can get Bernie care across the finish line at some point in the future. So regardless of how Republican leadership tries to sell this, or how liberal politicians and pundits try to fearmonger over it, keep in mind it's not really a repeal and it's definitely not a permanent fix, but it is closer to that than anything that could be expected with the blessing of congressional Democrats. And until a marked up version of it goes to the floor, there's all kinds of room for more free market concessions to be made to conservatives. So if you're wondering why you might start seeing conservative senators, congressmen, other organizations start pulling out those trusty nose clips, keep in mind what the other options are at this point. This has been your Capitol Hill Brief. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.